Hello everyone, and welcome to the next episode of SynergySix Unfiltered. And today I'm really pleased to have the two founders of SeeBlue Marketing with me today, where we're going to talk about marketing in a always-on environment. So let's hand over to the founders first. So Orla and Helen. Orla, please introduce yourself.
Hi Kevin, hi everyone. I'm Orla Murphy, co-founder of SeeBlue Marketing. We're a B2B tech marketing agency working with telco and digital tech businesses. I've been in B2B tech marketing for 18 odd years now, most of that time in a corporate environment, leading marketing teams across EMEA, the UK, and influencing global marketing strategy for tech companies.
Great, thanks very much indeed.
2 years ago, we founded SeeBlue Marketing.
Oh, 2 years now. That's really good. So, Helen, let's introduce yourself.
Thank you, Kevin. Delighted to be here. So, hi everybody. My name is Helen Brown. As you will have gathered, I'm the other half of the founding team of SeeBlue Marketing. My background equally is in the tech sector through and through. So I have spent about 15 years in the industry, and my real specialism, having worked in one of the large telco operators for a number of years, is actually targeting and working with large multinational organizations. So I have done a lot of working in field marketing, leading field marketing teams globally. And what that's given me is a really deep understanding across the sales and marketing continuum, how they can work together to target the buying center of large businesses. So between Orla and I, those are very much the angles that we come at this from. We absolutely love what we do. We're super excited to talk to you today. So thanks for having us.
No, it's a pleasure. And for anyone watching this, it's been great to see SeeBlue Marketing grow now that there's more than just you two, and you have now additional personnel on board, and helping those people from the graduate schemes as well, as such that you have. Excellent. So the whole thing about Unfiltered is to get down to the crux of the issues that people see today, and we try and cut through all of, unfortunately, the marketing hype. But today we're going to focus on marketing. So what does SeeBlue Marketing see as the big issues in marketing today in what is an always-on environment?
So from my perspective, Kevin, there's I suppose the perennial challenges that you see in marketing, right? Am I generating sufficient quality? Am I engaging with my target audience? But I guess what we've seen in the last year is marketing plans at the start of the year turned on their heads, conference plans, in-person engagement, that's just gone out the window. So the big thing we see now is how do marketers really transition towards that, always on digital engagement with customers.
Excellent. And Helen, do you have a perspective on this?
Yeah, I think the thing that I think of is that actually the way that our counterparts in sales operate, particularly when selling to large organizations, has just been turned on its head. So this year they've gone from being able to, as you said earlier, Kevin, take someone out for a beer, and that's the way that you really secure and cement a relationship, to being asked to do their job almost with their hands tied behind their back. So all of the tools that they're familiar with, the strategic sales process and the engagement process, kind of not available this year. So where does an organization look? Well, absolutely, you should be looking to your marketing team to help support you, because amongst the marketers of this world, you have a group of people who have been working across digital channels for a number of years and really do understand how to get cut through. And by that, we don't come at that from the perspective of, super visual, fancy, creative looking stuff. Actually, what I mean is really clear commercial insight that cuts through the noise and gets you to that C-level exec, because a C-level going to be a busy person. They are not going to open poorly written emails and poorly written content. So I think this year more than ever, it is the responsibility of sales and marketing to work hand in hand. And I mean, literally on individual accounts, groups of accounts, sectors, to get the outcomes that they need, because nobody's targets have gone down and it's just got harder to get to the end goal. So yeah, I think that's a major thing to focus on.
Yeah. I always think in sales, sales is not a democracy. It's not like you're given a target and then you say, wait a minute, I don't like that. Can I have a lesser one? You know, it's like you're given it, on you go, you know, and you've got to deal with that.
Yeah. And
so
more,
with those issues that,
I was going to say more and more, you know, marketing teams are commercial now. So obviously there are still elements of marketing which are the creative side. The creative campaigns have a place, but marketing teams are driven by the numbers, because we measure everything through the sales funnel, the kind of demand continuum, if you like. Marketers are numerical and we're looking at the results, so we're working to the same thing as sales. We're literally in it together. I know it's cheesy, but it is true.
Yeah. So do you think that the issues there, what type of impact do you think that those issues now have created on the marketing teams, the marketing operations people, and their engagements that they've traditionally had to deal with, hopefully as an integrated team? How do you think that has changed over what has been the last 4 to 5 months, and it's going to continue going forwards? What are the impacts there you see?
So, I think hopefully it has brought sales and marketing teams closer together. And I think if the last 4 or 5 minutes have shown, it's the value of, the role that marketing can play in engaging your audience in the right way, in creating the opportunities for more valuable conversations and insights, right? And authenticity has never been more important, right? Where every marketer has now moved into the same digital channels, right? You can't just go out with a poorly thought out campaign or approach. You have to really understand your audience, their needs, and create the content that's not fluff or, big headline grabbing activity. It's targeted, it's relevant, it's authentic, it's delivered where the people you want to talk to, where they are, and you're engaging them in a conversation and adding value. I mean, I'm sure everyone can experience a poorly executed campaign, especially if you're active on LinkedIn. You get the connection request and immediately you follow in with the really spammy sales approach, right? People are they switch off straight away, and there's such a damaging impact on your brand. What you need to do is engage people, sales and marketing together, in a way that connects and adds value and is not a pushy sales approach. But I think that's an understanding and a change, right? We've had to do that over the last 5 or 6 months for the better.
So if you think about this, Helen, the audience hasn't changed. The audience still is the same people. It's just their way of interacting has changed over this. So if we're going to say, right, we need to address this differently and look at the audience that we're doing, what is going to be different so that marketing is taken, and I put it in commas, seriously, as a serious component of driving revenue for businesses, when the people they're going to talk to are still individuals in their roles doing their job? What's got to change with that?
I think the way to think about it from a marketing perspective is you've got to shift from any form of broad brush marketing, and we're talking specifically B2B here, into as targeted as you can go. Okay, and I think it's a continuum, because there will always be activities that you deliver as a business which are go out to the wider market, but where you need to start is putting together a strategic framework for who you want to target and what are you going to target them with? What's your message? What are their needs? And the kind of common marketing term for that is account-based marketing, sometimes known as account-based engagement. And the whole thought behind that is it's not just a marketing activity, it's a marketing, sales, and should be service activity. So you're looking at your customer and your prospect base holistically as one team internally. And it's all about identifying what is the need and what's the right thing you can deliver to that individual or that group of customers, be that sector or some other kind of segmentation, and operating all of your marketing based on that targeting. And there are loads of amazing tools out there. We can come on to in a minute, some of them, but tools that give you insight into what those prospective or indeed your existing target customers are. What are they researching? What do they care about? These things are called intent tools, which basically help you with the knowledge of when would be the right time to contact your customer. And so therefore, as a principal, you just get rid of this idea of, I want to run a quarterly campaign, so I've got this product, I'm going to push it to this group of customers in quarter 3, off we go, without any knowledge of whether or not those customers that you might push it to need, want, or are in the market for that solution. And I think that if you're a business that doesn't do account marketing today or don't operate in that highly targeted way, it is a complete change of mindset, because it basically is the basis of your whole B2B marketing strategy. This account marketing, it's not a campaign. Ultimately, elements within what you deliver will form multiple campaigns, but the way you structure your marketing, your team, your thinking, and also the tech that you put into your business to support it, that comes from your B2B strategy.
And it can be a huge change of mindset, right? Helen already mentioned that for marketing and sales, particularly in SaaS companies, when often the marketing team are measured on MQLs, marketing qualified leads delivered into, an SDR team, right? So we're looking at now, how do we transition away from, we're actually not measuring the volume of leads generated, we're taking a much narrower targeted approach. And actually what we're looking to do and measure as marketers is that conversion to opportunity. And marketing should really be measured on that, on the contribution to pipeline and booked revenue, and not on how many MQLs and leads am I delivering in a month or a quarter, because actually it drives so much of the wrong behavior in a marketing team, where you're pushing out content, you're gating content, you're looking at how can I generate volume, and not really focusing in on the quality. And I think that's also, it's a shift that's taking place, because, it is all about, that targeting, that relevancy. And ultimately what the business cares about is, am I generating pipeline and am I generating booked revenue? And it's getting that sales and marketing team working together on the right mindset, strategy, and then executional tactics that's going to deliver that, and not looking in the wrong area at volume of leads generated.
So if this is a way to, as you say, account-based marketing or account-based engagement, let's call me a recipient, in my world of cybersecurity, CISOs that I talk to, are tired of sensationalism that is there. They're not a B2C brand. They're not trying to sell, the next great butter or washing powder that's got bluer than blue that's there. They're having to deal with real life possibilities that could damage their business. So how do you approach this, in the resolution of addressing the issues, to making sure that the way you communicate is fact-based, is not sensationalized, and to understand the individuals that, you for your clients are talking to. How do you address that? Because as I come back to the first part, they're still the same people. They're a little bit older, and some of them 6 months older than they were at the beginning of the year, but they're still the same people, still got the same issues. But they're saying to me, I need to be engaged with differently.
Yeah. And the way you engage, Kevin, is not necessarily, from the vendor side, let me tell you the benefits of my solution, right? That comes after, right? What, first of all, is you want to understand the CISO that you're talking to or wants to talk to. What are they experiencing day to day? How have his or her pain points changed? Because they will be different, right? From what they were, 6-9 months ago. The CISO is now having to deal with, a remote based, employee base. A whole load of IT applications have come into his organization. So the way they work and the way they're having to adapt has changed. So it's about, how do I put myself into the mindset of the CISO that I want to talk to? If they're a big account I want to engage with, what does that account look like? What's happened to that overall business? How are they impacted? What are their values? What are their strategic drivers? And then you can create that personalized engagement. And only then, when you've established a common understanding or acknowledgement of the challenges, then you come in with the benefits that you have. Yeah. So it's almost really the initial engagement is about validating the concerns and the challenges that they have right now, then coming in with the benefits that you can potentially offer to them to solve the problems that they have.
And
then you're adding value, right?
Yeah. It is. I 100% agree with Orla, and I think if you look at your whole customer or prospect base, what you would want to do from an account perspective is look at breaking that up into groups, and you would operate your plan and market slightly differently to those different groups, because nobody has endless resource and endless funds of cash and budget. So you would take, for example, your top 10 most valuable accounts or prospects, and you would probably want to service and look at them in an individual way. So exactly as Orla said, you would do the research, sit somebody in a seat looking at everything that can be found on the internet, but also can pick up the phone, do customer service and that kind of thing. But you would look to gather the insight on an individual company level, look into the individual buying center and influencers within that organization and operate on that basis. But then you might take your from customer number 11 to 50 in terms of size or value to your business, and think about that from a sector perspective. So 1 to few. So actually you don't go in individual company by company, because it's just not efficient use of resource, but you look at sector, so sector research, sector insights, and then you base your work on that. And that's how you break down your kind of total prospect and customer pool, by doing different strategic approaches into different groups of customers. And in that way, you get to be highly personalized for the most valuable, and then you become take it to a sector or another kind of segmentation view for the remainder of your customers. So you're still talking, you're still engaging, but you're using slightly more general contact points.
Well, if and something you mentioned just then was about budgets, so the marketing mix, 7Ps, 14Ps, 21Ps, we've got so many different frameworks that are on there. The key thing at the moment is budgets are tight, and as we know, when things get a little bit on the edge, marketing always gets impacted, and it's their budget that comes out first. When it always surprises me, because marketing is the pathfinder for any product that is out there. They're the ones that see whether there's a market for the product you're trying to sell, but they're the first to have it cut, so you can't find that out. So if marketing teams adopt an ABM, ABE type of approach with the the detail that you've mentioned. What's the longevity of this? Will it last for the next 18 months, 2 years? Because people want to ensure that the value that they get from these frameworks and these approaches to their business, give them value that gives them length, so they can continue. We know that people swap in and out of companies, both on the vendor side and also on their prospects and clients. But does the framework give them the longevity that they're after as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a more efficient way of working. It's a more efficient way of using your resources. So whatever your total marketing budget is, operating within an account-based framework, i.e. segmenting your accounts into different buckets, one to one, one to few, one to many, will ensure that you are using clever insight, research, and tech that drives that to help you understand who might be where on the buying journey. And therefore you can spend your resources, your high value resources, on customers who are further down that buyer journey and have a higher likelihood of converting. And you can use your less expensive resources in those early phases that help to keep people aware and informed, and you can nurture them. But actually, your most expensive resource ultimately is putting a salesperson onto a lead or an opportunity. So marketing's role, I think, is to make sure that the leads and opportunities they put into that funnel and into their sales team are as ready to buy or as far along that buyer journey as they could possibly be. So it absolutely is a long-term. It isn't a campaign. It is a strategic way of operating a B2B marketing function, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to your earlier comment, Kevin, it's still like it's a frustration that marketing in so many organizations is still viewed as a cost center rather than a value creator. And I think there's partly a role for marketers to play in changing that perception within their organization. And back to what I said earlier about how do you demonstrate the contribution that you make to pipeline and revenue plays a big role in helping to change particularly your CFO's perception in many cases, but your CEO as well. Like, you need to change that mindset that actually it is a cost center and really try and understand that value creation. And then when it comes to account-based marketing, and Helen's already touched on it, like done correctly and implemented as a strategy and a way of working rather than a campaign. And it's definitely not a campaign, and that's often where it does fall down. It's treated as a marketing campaign when it's not. It's a way of bringing sales and marketing and the service organization together with the customer at the center to generate the best possible outcome for the business. And that's when it works really, really well.
No, I think that's, it's valuable in that, because as you know, I deal with go-to-market, and some people think go-to-market is just a marketing or a sales function, when it's not. It's all of the functions in a business that contribute to go-to-market, and marketing is a critical part of that, as is the product, the sales side, commercial as well. So they all work together. Now, you both mentioned about the efficiencies and values that you can get from using ABM and ABE that is on there. So one thing I try to do at this stage is turn the table. So if efficiency is there, SeeBlue Marketing is a partner to these organizations. So why should somebody think of SeeBlue Marketing as an organization to work with?
Good question. So I think that the thing that differentiates SeeBlue from many agencies is actually Helen and I, and pretty much everyone in our team, have worked client side, right? So actually we have this understanding of how organizations work, the debates, the complexity that exists between marketing, sales, finance, product management teams, we've lived and we've experienced, right? So actually, when we go and talk to our clients, and we immediately look to speak to wider stakeholders to understand their challenges, as well as the brief from the CMO. And we just instinctively know the questions to ask because we've been there and we've lived through it. So that's one thing that our customers definitely tell us that they value is that client-side experience.
Yeah.
So I think it's because when we take on any brief from a client, we kind of just put ourselves in the shoes of, if I was working in this business and I was asked to put together this marketing plan or an ABM framework or an ABM strategy, whatever the brief is, we ask ourselves, if this is my business, what do I do? What is the best thing to do? So our answer is never, only within this box that we happen to have a service in, because ultimately, I suppose are we an agency? Are we a consultancy? We're both, because we do delivery, but we come at it from a what's the best answer for the business perspective, not I've got these services, so which one works for you perspective, which I think is quite different. And for all the customers we work with, and those range from scaling businesses who have got 7 people that are trying to sell into a big corporate organization, right the way through to actually really, really large corporates who also wanting to put in frameworks and structures. The value to all of them is that we work in that way. Our minds are flexible, and we have that kind of marketing, sales, and commercial combination that a typical marketing agency that just doesn't, because it's just not the same background. So yeah, that's what we bring to the table.
Good. Not apologies for asking that, but it's anybody watching this, yeah, the ladies weren't expecting that one at the end, and I ask everyone on here, why they should work with them. So I would just like to say thank you very much indeed for agreeing to come on and share your experience, and especially, as we say, with marketing today in an always-on environment that we're all having to learn to live with. And I appreciate your time coming on Unfiltered, and I wish you all the best.